Hello, good morning, happy Monday. How you all doing today? Let's see. OBS looks good. Mic is on. I think we're ready to go. Isitsu, hello. How are you doing? All right. So today we are continuing to work on the HTTP server. That's the CodeCrafters challenge for creating our own HTTP server. We're doing it in Rust. And last time we got through the challenge of responding with, I think, a 200 request and maybe like a message. But what we have, I think, everything inside of main. Oh, we did move a bunch of stuff over into live. Okay, so that's good. We have this in main. We have this in our library, but I think, yeah, it's 153 lines. So I think we want to move things out into their own files and make things a little bit better. You're making great progress on your project. Excellent. That's great to hear. Hedgehog, hello. How are you doing today? Nice to hear what was in part one. Yeah, so yeah, it's only been one part, right? Just last week. I want to say yes. But yeah, we got through. Let's open up the challenges. Oh, and of course I'm not logged in. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, well apparently I just clicked the login button and it brought me right to here. So we are on the build your own HTTP server. Right, we just did this one, the respond with 200. And then that was, yeah, we just want to respond with a 200 request like this. And so that's what we've got. So looking at what functions we have, let's look at our symbols. So yeah, we have like the read stream for like reading incoming type things. I wonder if I want to put that into its own file. Parsing a raw request, that's also like part of incoming, right? Figuring out what the method is. Yeah, so like there's a bunch of this parsing that we have. I have a const space in here twice. So again, its own file would be helpful for that. Request. So a request struct that we return from it. So I wonder if I just want to create a single request, like process request file, and then we just throw all of this stuff in there. That might end up making sense. Because then we have the method type. That methods can be either for the outgoing and incoming. So wait, is that true? No, that's only incoming. Because I can't like respond with another thing. I can't respond with like a post. It's been quite the journey. Started with JSON, moved to SQLite via SQLX, and then SQL ORM. Sorry, CORM. Then back to JSON. Now you finally settle on a custom graph data structure. Oh, that is a fun sort of journey. But by the end of it, I'm guessing that you know exactly what you wanna like, what you want and why you want it, right? What's the structure of the entire server, or does things one by one? Here, yeah, let's go over it. So in our main, we don't really do much. We just run, right? So in run, which is in our library file, we create and set up the server. And then we set up the stream that's listening to incoming connections. And then for every connection that comes in, it's part of this loop here. So every time that a connection happens, we now receive a stream from this. So we then read stream, which is ours. So that's this read stream here. And let's see, read stream. That gives us the raw request. So this is just what I do is I do a loop here to chunk through and get everything that we're getting out, because it might be bigger. Like we don't know how big it is, and so I sort of like we create this. You pretty much reinvented Neo4j and the Cypher query language. Oh, is that good, or more of like, oh, I should have just started with that? I mean, it could be both, right? Let's see. Okay, so once we read the stream, that gets us a raw request, which is just a bunch of bytes. We parse this raw request into a request struct. We then figure out what the path is, and so this is a little bit of hard coding here. We don't have a router or anything, sort of like to do stuff with that. We just basically say like, hey, if you're slash, then you get an okay back. Otherwise, we get a not found. And let's see, then we have the actual response. So we figure out here's what the response is going to be, and then we send it on all back. Okay, yeah. So you're basically just doing a subset of Neo4j just for your own custom stuff, which makes a lot of sense. Like to be able to just basically use like just what you want, and you can control that really well, which is nice. Okay, so if we look at this, we have set up the server, which can probably be just in here like that. That's probably fine. But then we have our loop to go through here. That's probably also fine for this. But we have our, where's stream? Oh yeah, that's from this loop. So for this listener, we're coming in. Okay, so we're getting that. So we get our stream, and then this part, everything to get the request, this can go into its own file, I think. You are not the right directory. All right, so let's go into source. I don't think this needs to be a folder, so we're just going to call this maybe request.rs. Right, and that did update just the library. Now, what we probably want to do is call one thing, and it's going to respond with this request here. So I essentially want to do like, hey, read stream, and then that responds with the request. So I kind of want to grab these out. But then we're going to have a pub function get request or something like that. Maybe just, no, let's not call it request. Process request. It's probably going to take in something. We're going to turn a request, which I'm not going to worry about right now. Probably a result request. Yeah, this is definitely going to have to be a result request. So result, anyhow, result. We'll put in a request like that. And we'll get that. And let's just do an okay request out of here. Okay, so then that means we need to have a stream, which we see the stream is a TCP stream, just a TCP stream. Okay, so we have you. You're going to be upset for a short while until we get all the other stuff over here. So let's do that now. So that was read stream, process raw request, parse the method from the request, parse path from the request. Then we get this request here. Okay, so this is what we want to pull out. Okay, and then you need that trait. You need to be a mutable reference. Let's see. And as files should be managed as modules with names and import instead. Yeah, so we're going to put these into, well, this one's going to become its own module, and then it's going to have this process request function, which is sort of its interface to the rest of this module. And we just call that, and it's going to give us back a request. And then you don't need that there, so you're happy. Okay, method, right. So I need, we should put this method somewhere else that's not here. And I'm wondering if maybe, yeah, we have like an impl for the method. Let's just create its own file for that too. I mean, it could be a helper, but I'm not exactly sure right now. Okay, so method, grab you. Do you need to be pub? I don't know if you need to be pub or not. Let's try that first. That grabs you. Okay, so then you're happy. Go back to you, and now we can say, all right, now, ooh, you couldn't find that. So you probably do need to be pub. Although, couldn't I go super? I might have been able to go super. Ooh. Use super method. Oh, wait. This needs to be pub. That's what the problem was. Okay. So then in here, I don't think you need to be pub there. Yeah, and you're still fine. So that's good. The only thing you know is crucial parts of the new file should contain the pub keyword. Yeah. Yeah, so the pub keyword is for making it public so other files can access it. That's pretty much the big thing. The reason why I don't need to make this public in library, even though the request module is reading from method here, is because the request module is a child of lib. So that's where it gets a little bit interesting, right? So the child of lib has access to all the things that are modded from lib. So I can go like super, go one up from request, that gets to lib, and then into method from there. Now, if I wanted to go straight into method from request, then it would need to be public. I think that's how it works. That may be wrong. It might have been fine too. Okay, so your expected value. All right, so here we have the request. I don't want to worry about that yet. Let's continue on with request here. So we have read until. Right, so we have to just import a bunch of traits now. All right, so you're done. Now we just have the stuff in library. So you want to get the request. And so we have the listener. We have the stream. And so now I can just say, I want our request is going to be process request. And we hand it a mutable reference to the stream. And we can give you a context saying getting request, like that. Now, your type is that, expected. Field path of the request is private, right? So fun thing about having everything be in one file is in the same file, you have access to the arms, the properties of a struct. It just works out fine. But if you're in another file, these need to be public in order to have, or we need to create getters for them. So that makes you happy. Expected value found module request. And then you're only partial. Do I need to like resave you? Type request is private. Oh yeah. Wait. Pub function. You are pub. Process request is private. Type request is more private than the item process request. Oh, sorry. This thing needs to be public. That's what that is. Okay, and now just a bunch of warnings. So we can get rid of those. Field method is never read, which is fine for right now because we're not doing anything with it. I think that no matter what it is, we're just looking to the path, but eventually it's going to be, we're going to do something with the method. But okay. I think for right now, well, let's see. So this is not really a router, but we're kind of doing some routing here. I'm not exactly sure where and how I want to deal with this. So I'm going to leave it for right now. And then we have our response. Now the response I might want to throw into its own file because this should be fairly simple. We have, yeah, let's do a response of like what we're sending out, and then that can generate and build this out. And I might want to create a response struct that I create and then pass in here, and then it sort of like creates the thing. But that's all future stuff. And then that will actually probably take in a stream and then send that off on its own too. So there's only one place it's going to send out. Yeah, I'm gonna want to turn this into a create response function at some point. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so grab you. Oh, don't want to do that. I want to create a pub function. Should we just call this response? I might want like a send response. All right, so we definitely want this to have a result, but we don't need to send anything back. We want the response code, which okay, I figured this would be an HTTP code. Yeah, okay, so this wants to be an HTTP code, which should probably be part of response, right? So I'm okay with pulling this out of here, throwing you in like that. So we have our response code, which is going to be an HTTP code. That's going to be fine. Then we need the stream, which is going to have to be a mutable reference to the stream. And by stream, I mean TCP stream. Okay. We need to do an okay. Nothing by the end of here. That's fine. You're happy. You need to be public. Info display. We need to bring in format display. Write all. Probably that. And I'm doing a flush even though I'm not 100% sure I need to. Okay, and that's it. Everything is happy here. Then you're unhappy again, right? So you need to import you. That gives us a response code, and then we need to use this with. Okay, so basically, this becomes a little bit simpler. We are going to be a send response. We'll send the response code and a mutable reference to the stream. We'll context sending response. And there we go. Okay. And that is happy. All right. So more warnings. And back to that method is never read, but that's fine. Okay, so that's the only warning. We're good to go there. Let's go ahead and send this on up and see if maybe we screwed up or if everything else is fine. Let's actually do this. Let's fully quit out. All right, so what did we do? I guess we refactored. We refactored the methods. Yeah, so we refactored methods in library to their own files. I know how to type. All right, let's see how this works. This might take a little bit of time because it's the first time we've pushed to this. I probably could have done a push right before the the stream started to wake it up, but it's not that big of a problem. It doesn't actually take that long. Okay, and the test passed, and we can now move on to the next step. Excellent. And let's go ahead and do that. So down here, I believe we can say view next stage. We're now on extract UL. Oh, wait, no, this is the one that we've been on. Never mind, not this one. So we can now mark U as complete. And now we are on respond with body. In this stage, you'll implement the echo string endpoint, which accepts a string and returns it in the response body. So it's a mirror. That's what I'm getting. A response body is used to return content to the client. This content may be an entire web page, a file, a string, or anything else that can be represented with bytes. Your echo string endpoint must return a 200 response with a response body set to given string and with a content type and content length header. Here's an example of an echo string request. Okay, so they're going to do a get request to echo ABC along with and their headers. And then a response is going to be a 200 OK, content type text plain, content length. So we're going to have to do that. And then the ABC. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I always thought that the body was going to go in here between the RN and the RN. I thought it was going to go there, but it's because I do carriage return headers. Oh, I see. Because there's a carriage return between each header. That's why they need two carriage returns to denote the end of the header section. That's how that works. Okay, got it. The two headers are required for the client to be able to parse the response body. Note that each header ends in a carriage feed or carriage return, and the entire header section also ends in a CRLF. And then they'll run our stuff, and it'll be all great. So if I run this, let's bring up Insomnia. So we want to go to, I think this is our server. All right. We're getting to 404 not found, but we want to just go to, yeah, we go to slash like that. So we want echo, and then ABC is our test case. And we get a 404 not found, which is kind of to be expected. Now, right now, we're checking this path as slash. And if it is slash, we just return an OK. Otherwise, we do something else. And I kind of wonder if we want to create a router for this. Now, I'm not necessarily thinking of like making this handle any type of router thing, but putting the router into its own file and then it run maybe its own functions that are like listed somewhere else could be helpful in sort of figuring this out. So because we got the request, and then we want to, based upon that, I guess like go and if I do the routes, I think that I want to create a folder for the router. So we have our library main method. Okay, so let's take, we'll just call it routes. We'll do mod.rs, and then the other one that I want to do, I guess we have two right away, right? We have just the OK on slash. So we'll call this like home.rs, and echo $s. We'll go into here. Let's just mod routes this. I'll just call this routes, or maybe, oh, this could be router. We want to bring in the request. Should I take ownership of this? I don't see a reason why I shouldn't take ownership. So I'm just going to take that for right now. So request. We're going to turn a result anyhow. And I probably want a response of like what we're going to send as a response. And there is no response yet. So we're going to create a new one. Do I need default? I probably don't. I probably just want response. Let's do debug. And we'll just do that for right now. And I want an HTTP code so we can do a like pub code. That'll be the HTTP code that we care about. And we know we want the body. Now, do I care about like the difference between JSON and like the text? Because that could be really interesting. I think though, maybe not. So we'll just have this be a string. Let's see, HTTP code, you need to now implement debug. Okay, so you're just upset that I'm not using you. That's fine. So we're going to turn a response. Let's throw a to-do in here so it doesn't yell at us. Okay, so in here, if we want to use this, we need to call the handle request, or we need to call the router, and it's going to give us the response back, which then we're going to then send to response, which instead of response code will now be like the full response. Okay, makes sense. So I kind of want to do something like this. Let response equals Can you not find that? Routes router, hand it the request, context, routing request. There. Okay. Excellent. You are happy. You're no longer happy because this is no longer, we gave ownership to the router. And that's okay. So we need to update send response to now handle this new request thing. So I probably just want to pass in response. You're going to be upset because, well, we're not doing anything with you. So this is the response, which is going to be an owned response. Okay, so now I have this like let response equals this entire thing, and I kind of want to build this off of the response, don't I? And then we write this out. And then we response as bytes, and then that comes out from this. Okay. So I kind of want to build the response and then it gives us this out, which code, and then we now know that the body goes here, and then we have I think it was this, then headers. So like another CRLF headers, and then two CRLFs. But let's not worry about that right now. So let's do an impl response pub function. I could call it build, but we could also do like as bytes. Let's do a result. Okay, I think that's correct. I don't think we have anything that we care. Oh no, we do care about this. What are you? You are is just a okay, so as bytes gives us a reference to U8. Interesting. Wonder we're gonna have fun lifetimes with this. Because if I just do that, unless Elysian can handle it, which I don't think it's going to be able to. Maybe? Cannot find response code. Okay, so let's not worry about you. Let's grab you. Not in there, in here. And we are creating you as a function right now. So we get the response. And we do an okay response as bytes. Okay, and so then instead of the response code like this, unfortunately, we're going to have to do a self.code here. Cannot return value referencing local variable response. Oh, that's what the problem is. Okay, so the response as bytes doesn't. Because if I create the string here, yeah. What is the headers is part of or not? I'm gonna have to put headers as part of response. Once we get to the headers, we're gonna add those in. So that's where they're going to go eventually. I wonder, it's going to be easier for me to just say, okay, response, this just becomes a string. Do something like that. Let's do our code equals self.code. And only doing that so I can just throw the code in like this. Because I don't think I can't do like self.code here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it doesn't allow me to do that. So just to make that look a little bit nicer, we'll do this. I don't need to move you out. Okay, so now we response as bytes. So I can do. Oh, it's going to be a response as bytes. We should rename this to be, instead of as bytes, maybe like create, or we'll just do this as a build now. So I build that as bytes. Oh, context, building response, string. as bytes there. And then that makes that happier. Okay, and then we know that body is going to go at the end of here. Like that. Let's see. Deepak, hello. How are you doing today? My thoughts on which framework higher job opportunities, Axim or Actix? That's really tough because there's not that many job opportunities in either of them right now. So it's sort of like predicting the future a little bit. I would love to say that most hiring managers wouldn't care as long as you know one or the other, it's going to be good enough. But it's also a little bit hard to tell whether or not that's true too. I've definitely seen some recruiters and hiring managers, and especially HR, who don't really understand understand that if you know one, that is pretty easy to get into the other. I think it's going to also depend upon what region you're in. If you're in an area that, because over here in the United States, each state seems to have its own culture of like what technology to use. Like, for example, for a while, everybody was using Ruby on Rails for their web applications in Silicon Valley. But then over here in Denver, everybody was using Node.js Express and React. There's a certain part of Denver in which replaced React with Angular. So it's regional, unfortunately. But because Rust is so new, I don't actually know if it matters that much. As if you know Rust, you're already ahead of the curve with most other people who might be applying. So I think I'm gonna have to go with that fun answer of it depends, and it's hard to say. I think that networking to find out what those specific job opportunities are looking for, and trying to use networking as a way to sort of get around that you learned one or over the other is probably where to go. Does that help, Deepak? It's kind of a non-answer, unfortunately, but I don't have a good one. And I don't have like a bead on the Rust job market right now. None of the recruiters that I sort of hang out with, like they're starting to have to learn what Rust is, but that's it. Like it's just like, oh, do you know Rust? As opposed to, do you know any technologies in Rust yet? Okay, so HTTP code, you're saying you're never constructed, but I'm using display for you. And that's where the display is being used. Okay, so we build. Because then I response build context as bytes, and that sends it all back. Okay, so theoretically, wait, am I send a response? Am I never sending a response? No, I do. I send a response right here. This should be good now. Wait, no. Because I don't do anything with the router. That's what it is. Custard, hello. How are you doing today? I think the Google Microsoft backing of Rust needs to bed in a little bit yet for there to be more jobs. So my reading on the job market in Rust right now is that we're still in the don't need to really talk to recruiters yet part of it, because there's so few jobs that a lot of companies, I think, are just hiring devs and teaching them Rust, or they're finding Rust devs for those jobs through a networking side of things. So I don't think we're really hitting all of the standard ways that people get jobs outside of networking yet. That's my guess. Skimmis, hello. How are you? Most Rust jobs seem to be around Europe right now, and almost anything you see around North America either requires domain-specific knowledge in addition to Rust or needs 5 to 10 years experience at least. And oddly, you're seeing US hiring EU Rust devs. That's interesting. But yeah, we're still in that super weird phase for new technology. I don't know if do any of you remember when React was like just starting out and people were hiring for React? It was like, you need to have React with 5 years of experience, like the year that it came out. Or it was also like, you need to have most places were like, if you just know Angular, we don't care. Like, you've never touched React before, that's fine. These days, it's probably more of like, hey, look, you at least need to have used React a little bit, but that's because it's so pervasive and big now. So that's my guess, is like, we're still at that stage right now in the Rust job ecosystem, but this is all speculation and guesses because I don't really know any companies directly hiring for Rust yet. Every recruiter or company that sent me a message right now is still talking about JavaScript or Python or PHP or something like that. Okay, so for the router, here's where we want to probably match on the route. So if we let's see, how do we want to do this? We could do a double match. So if I do a match on the request path, because I'm not planning on making something as nice as Axum here. It doesn't need to be as nice. Tone, hello. I'm using ActixWeb. It seems more popular. ActixWeb is also older, so that makes a lot of sense. Plus, ActixWeb is past the 1.0 sort of gateway. I don't know what the right word for that is. But because they're like, what, 3 point something, 4 point something, they're definitely past the 1.0 sort of like milestone. That's going to scare a lot of people less than something like Axum, which is on 0.7.5, which is definitely a thing. Like I've actually noticed a lot of there's been a lot of people on like Discord that I've seen. It's like, why aren't more like, why isn't like you or Axum or something else being adopted more by companies? And my response always has been, why isn't it 1.0? Like we've got to make it 1.0. We got to give some kind of reliability that things aren't going to change and break overnight. Because that's usually what happens is like, oh, yeah, 0.7.5. Be aware, we might just break everything tomorrow. Good luck. That's not, no company's going to want to use that. That's silly talk. Only individuals like me are going to be interested in doing that. But I'm also doing it for learning it so I can teach it. So like I'm not a typical use case for it. I don't know, that's my personal thoughts, is that we need to start seeing more 1.0 releases in the Rust ecosystem to have it be adopted more. Okay, so it's 4.9. Yeah, and it's had a fair number of breaking changes, but like look at our competitors, right? Like let's see. Express is probably like the oldest one for Node.js. That's on what, 5 something, or at least 3 something. They slowed down development quite a bit. So anybody choosing to start an Express project now, we might, they might receive a lot of flack from the community for like, oh, you're starting with an old project, but also it's stable. It's not changing very much at all. Laravel, well, they just got a bunch of funding, so it's hard to tell. They might have a bunch of updates coming because of that, but they've been pretty stable for a long time. They're on what, like version 16 or 18 now? they have breaking changes. Everybody has breaking changes. The question is, are those breaking changes coming relatively recently? Relatively often, or are they coming at a sort of like a regular cadence? That's what I think we need to like sort of think about. What are you? You are a string. So I want a aster. And let's also to lowercase that, just in case. And so we can start doing things like, okay, so if you're slash, we're going to send you somewhere. If it's a thing like that, I don't need you. If you're echo, and then something. Ooh, so that's we need to handle a the equivalent of something like that, which I can't do a pattern like that, can I? In a match? That'd be really awesome if I could. And then everything else we need to go into handle 404. So let's change these to unimplemented. Sorry, to do. Okay, so this would hopefully return. So let's just say that this gets our response. We're gonna do something with that, and then we'll return a response from there. Okay. So if we do our to-dos, that was the hello, I think, or home. Just a singular mod home, I think, is enough for this. So if we do pub function home, we know it's on slash. What are we going to return? We're going to return just the okay. So I probably want to return a response. Let's just say that we always return a result and a response. So we're just doing okay. Response, a code is going to be HTTP code. Okay. And then a body is just going to be an empty string. So then you are going to be we're going to call home. That gives you you. So we're going to get our response equals to you. That's the response. Okay, response. So that no matter what, we get a response back from this. So that's the idea. You haven't been in the JS land for a while. Back when as Express was the old thing, and people were moving towards Koa instead. But it looks like that didn't take off, and Express is still the king. That being said, like I was watching CJ do a stream like last year, and that was not, what was that? He used like feathers or something. I don't remember what it was. There was some like alternate thing that everybody was starting to switch over to from Express. That's what I remember from that. TV Josh, hello. How are you doing today? Am I a CodeCrafters employee, a shill, or just a fan? I am not an employee. I guess like of those three options, I am a shill. Yeah, so I'm they gave me a VIP status, so I have an affiliate link for it. All right, so let's see. Now these other to-dos I think will be fine and they shouldn't get hit as long as I just go with slash. So I do need to put commas in here. Then you're happy. Some warnings. That method for the request, we're still not reading for that, and that's okay for right now. Yeah, should that be okay? Should we update that? I kind of feel that we need to. Okay, so we match. Okay, so this is the path. And then should we do path? Oh, should we do path first? Or do I do the method first? Because I could also do something like this. That response equals request.method. That is method get is our only one. And then from here, we do more, we do this entire thing. You're upset. Let's see, method get. Oh, I'm missing you. Expected result response error. You're not in a function block. Okay, so we do the home, we get out. I guess you go out of here into here. Expected result response error. Oh, because you're just method now. Okay, so based upon the method, if you're a get, I then check the path. I then, if you're slash on a get, I do this entire thing. You respond with a result response, not a method. These other two are to-dos. Why are you method? Okay, is that unexpected closing delimiter? Do I have too many? Oh. Okay. Expected one of blah else an operator. Okay. Okay. Fun times. You're already lost with all these modules. Oh, sorry about that. Let's see. Which parts are you lost on? We can discuss and go over them. I know you mentioned you were pretty new to modules and Rust, right? because we can look at our directory structure here is like this. So we can see, all right, we have our main library. That's sort of like where everything is running, right? And then we just have a bunch of little methods, little stuff here. And then routes is its own file because I can have like the route handlers alongside the main router sort of function here in mod. I wonder, would it make sense for me to throw that over here to the left? Do we have room for the code to do that? Because I could... I can do something like this, make it nice and small, go into source, that needs to be way too big up there. That's not helpful. Okay. Let's try down. It still takes up quite a bit of space, even when I'm going down. If I could do our tree, but not have all of this stuff up here, that would be much more helpful. Yeah, what is... Okay, yeah, so I'm using ERD. I wonder if I can do ERD, there we go. That's what I need to do. So that doesn't give me anything else. So if I take you, oops. Well, that's fun. Now this is way over here on the right, which is not what I wanted. Once I accidentally screw up the how everything works in what is it called? How I've got everything set up in Zellage here. If I screw it up, then it's like, oh, I've got to sort of like start that over again. Right, let's do this again. So go over there like that. We throw you like there. We move you over here. We resize you to that. Now I still have sizes, right? Can I do... So Y for inverted, that no get stuff. Just give me the name. That gives me the hidden... No, the hidden files are there regardless. Man ERD. Oh, suppress size. Suppress size is probably what I want. So I want... That's what it is. Okay. I mean, I would love to have that and then get rid of everything else so you only see this over here. But for right now, this'll have to be good enough. So then if I cd into source, do that, there we go. You're still looking for a good guide to some tiling managers. Right now, I like Zellage. I like it a little bit more than Tmux, and then I used to use Screen all the time. For those of you who remember Screen and know what that is. Let's see, is this a good one? Yeah, this is a good size. I don't think that I can in Zellage basically say like, now this is what you are. That'd be really nice if I could do that, but I don't think I can. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it too much. All right, so what are you upset about? You're upset because it expected one of something else. And so we have, request method, which is going to be actually just a method like this. That's perfectly fine. So let response equals request.method, and then we open you. And then method get, so the first one we have here, so method get, and then I do this match. Okay, so let's go undo this. So we have our first sort of method. This works here. And if I want to do this over again, so let's do res equals match request.method, and we do like that. And so I do method get like that. And now let's just say I take you, throw you in here, and I return with the response. Okay, that's much better. What are you upset about? Cannot find value response. Oh, because it's res. Now you can be response here. We can then get rid of you and you. No semicolon, so it just responds like that. Okay, there we go. Much better this time. So now just not found, not being used, which is not found. Do I have a not found? I don't. So that'll be you. So we'll have to do a response. Do I want to create a builder for response? I don't know if I care about that. So our code is going to be HTTP code not found, and then body is going to be a string new. Okay, no warnings, no errors. Up here behind chat, I'm just going to go ahead and run the server. So that was a cargo watch x run, except I need to be running the directory. Okay, starting to listen. If I run this again, so not the echo because we have that as a to-do. So if we just go to slash, we still get a to-do, okay. And as you can see, we still get a bunch of stuff printed out. So perfect. Everything is looking good so far. So echo, now this is gonna be the interesting thing, right? Now, echo, I put a star in there. I don't think this is gonna work. Because if I do just echo ABC, we get a 404 not found instead of an actual like crash, which is what we were hoping for. 5 IQ witch chatter. Hello. How are you doing today? Do you think a matchmaking app for dogs who can't get laid is a good idea for a portfolio project? Remove the can't get laid part, and absolutely, I think that it is. There's a lot of people who do sort of Twitter for animals projects. We've had several students who have done that in the past, and I always think that they're hilarious and great. Supercuber, hello. How are you? And then Limanox, how are you doing today? Okay, so patterns. Oh, you're doing HTTP server but only standard. Oh, okay. Well, that's more restrictive than me. So matching on strings or stirs based upon a regular expression, I think, is what we're going for here, right? Can I do something like that in match statement? So that'd be like what? Rust, match, stir. Pattern. Start there. So that's, I mean, not exactly what I want. Strings against patterns. So this is a Stack Overflow. You can create a master regex that captures all the interesting components and then build a vector of all the captured pieces. This vec can then be matched against. So there's their input. Create a regex that matches on a union of all commands. So question mark, like one unknown number of x, the word next or previous or go to string plus digits, and that's one, right? One or more. Emo Giraffe, hello, how are you doing today? Greetings from Egypt. Well, welcome from Egypt. Awesome to have you here. Okay, execute the regex. So captures. So we take the input. Okay, so you take the regex and then you captures the input, and then you can map over the captures. And then you collect it into a vector, match against the captured values as a slice. So asref match as a slice. Okay, so if it's one of these, then go and do that thing. Okay. We can try this. This seems like it would work. You're a never regexer? Oh, you're okay. So I was back in a previous life. I was a systems administrator, and regex is pretty well suited for systems administration work. Like so many times, they're just like tiny little things where like, okay, let's just regex that out, or hey, we need to just change this one thing, so we pull out sed or awk or something like that, and there's like regex type things that are going on in there. So for me, it's one of those things where like I don't like to do super complex regex stuff, but really basic things, perfectly fine, I think. What's an HTTP server? I know what a server is. An HTTP is an internet protocol. So think of like the HTTP server that we're creating here is the backbone part of the HTTP servers that you're using as a framework. So, for example, in Actix Web or Axum, this is the equivalent of like Tower that they're using behind the scenes. We're grabbing stuff from the client as it's coming in, we're parsing it, creating a request, and then handing that over, in this case, to ourselves. But in like Tower's case, it's being handed to Axum or Actix Web or something like that. If we go to another language like Express, that is they're using. Well, I can't remember what Express uses behind the scenes, but they use something else behind the scenes that sort of handles this for us too. Okay, so let's try this because this is actually fairly easy to read. So if I'm going to put this onto the other screen so I can reference it. So if over here we just say let our, I mean, essentially this is like the routes expression equals, we're going to do, is regex. Regex is a crate, isn't it? Yeah, extern crate regex. So this might be the first. Oh, so that's. Yeah, so anyhow bytes in this area is the only thing that we're given by default, but we can add our own. So just split on slash for now. Don't do regex. Okay. Let's see how far we can get without doing regex. I'm okay with that. So if I split on slash, it's going to do it on both sides, right? Because like then we're gonna get. Let's just try this. So if I do paths, oh, it's segments. We get segments equals request dot path dot divide one string slice into two at an index, not that. Split the string into two at the given byte. No, not index. An iterator over substrings of the string slice separated by characters matching byte a pattern. Okay, so that's the one. An iterator over substrings. Okay, so let's do split. And our pattern is just the character slash. So that gives us that, right? Am I doing raw TCP stream? Yes, we are. Game Stylist, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so that gives us an iterator, segments, and that's going to be nothing at all. So I'm kind of curious. If I debug the segments, what do we see? Can I see anything? Are you going to be happy with this? The rest of this should actually still work as expected, right? So if we do our get to slash like this, you see get at 200 okay, and then we get to see segments is this split internal. Here, let me make this full size. Start 0 and 1. The matcher. Okay, so we get to see. Okay. Now, if I get if I did more of these, it won't crash. It'll just give us a 404 here. Let's just make this bigger. So if I say echo ABC, so that's the full haystack. The needle is what we're going for. Oh, that doesn't give me what. Okay, I thought it was going to have the data, but no, this split is the split internal. It doesn't actually have all the things debugged out for it. Okay, so if I wanted to see all of these segments, I think I have to, for segment in segments, maybe debug these. Okay, so nothing at all for slash. Echo for the first one, and then ABC for the second one. Okay, so that makes sense. That works. Let me see if I can pronounce this even close to correct. El Hijo del Viento. Hello, how are you doing today? And sorry if I butchered your username. But greetings from Argentina. Nice. LMS done. Oh yeah, I haven't worked publicly on the LMS for a while. I've done some minor little things here and there for the LMS sort of off stream, but we haven't done anything on stream for that for a while. Right now, we're working on a CodeCrafters build your own HTTP in Rust challenge. Okay, so that segment works. So what I probably want to do is get the first segment, right? So if I get the first segment, I just run next on this, right? So if I say match on segments.next, that gives me an option, a string. Okay. Was this a sum? It's a sum with nothing, right? So match on segments next. So if I could say a sum of nothing like that, you would be this. And then if you're echo, which you're not slash, it's just echo is the next segment. So if this, I guess this is the first segment, right? So if the first segment is echo like that, then I want to send this on over to echo. So we're going to care about the next segment, right? Why not store function pointers and route strings and match on them? Let's see. Why not store function pointers and route strings and then match? I mean, I could. Is there a reason not to? I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know about the function pointers. I don't know if I need those at all. But like for the paths and the route itself, I could just match on like the full string, and that would be fine. And it could instead of like a match, I could just do a full if statement, if else if. Is that what you were thinking of, or am I just sort of way off on that one? That's how you're doing it. You usually parse path in the request stage and just match on the route after building the qualified path from the request path. So in the request stage, you're matching on the route after building the qualified. Okay, hold on. I don't know if my brain is fully grokking, parsing, understanding what you're saying. So instead of here in the request, you already have a pointer to the function route it's going for. So like when building a request, that's when you also figure out the routing stuff. Have I heard about next weekend's event from Ladybird browser to Write browsers? I have not. No, I haven't. Is that like an event to like actually build a browser from scratch? That sounds fun. Oh, the other thing that I could do is like probably not in a router here. I could probably split in the request. Okay, an ad started, so we probably need to take a break before we continue on. Let's see. Okay, for example, if you have a path slash path slug, I will get path value in the request. Okay, so like in the request struct. As slash path value or path question mark query string equals value. I create a path slug from that string and match with the one I store. Okay. So that'd be part of request here. We can definitely do something with that. So oh yeah, and we have these two spaces. I can get rid of this now. Toto, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so yeah, we have like method, and I have path is just a string here, and I could put like a query param inside of here. Like you don't understand, why do you need to split on slash if you're going to match anyways? It's I need to don't I need a match to figure out which method, which route handler to run? So like I need to figure out what the path is. And then from the path, then I need to say, hey, I want to run these route handlers based upon that. That was like my thought process on it. It's sort of like building the client and the server. Sorry, not the client. Sort of like building the framework part of Axum router, but also the user endpoint, the handlers, all together at the same time. Those route handlers have specific paths, right? Well, so that's the question: is like how do I match the paths that those route handlers are going to run on to the paths that we extract out? That's where like my brain is going like, how do I do this? Like my first thought was like, oh, I just match, right? It's like that's the part where it's like, okay, where do I sort of like hook those up in my head? And once I have that, then it becomes easy, right? Because here it's like I need to know, first you need to parse your query params and find the qualified path, the syntax of your path, syntax of my path, and then math with the syntax you have. I don't know if I fully understand that. So if we're basically saying like, okay, if I'm on like something like slash, which in this one would be nothing at all if I do the split. In this one, there is no query params. So apt-get, okay. So apt-get user ID name equals Limanox. I could be dumb and match on a slice of segments. That would be multiple slices, right? Then, like, I feel like this is pretty dumb already. So Limanox, where does that apt-get go? Like at-get. Like the at isn't like proper Rust syntax. So where would I be putting that? Because that does look a lot like what you could do in Axum as a writer of, you know, you're building the server using Axum. Yeah, that's sort of what I have here, because I could do a match on like some nothing here, and then some on echo, and then that gives me like on the first, so the first response, the first segment is going to be always the first thing after slash. Oh, okay. So browser jam, 13th through the 15th. Oh, it's a full jam. I don't know if I have time for anything like that right now. I'm giving myself time to do a jam for I'm going through like all the different technologies in my head, and I'm getting every single one except the right technology. It's what is it called? Anathema. I was going like Alacrity, no, Zellige, no. All the different technologies. Like, no, it's Anathema. I'm keeping my schedule free for the Anathema jam once that happens, which I don't know when it's going to happen. For Axum, they do macros to build a route handler from the function you provide. So if I could not do a macro for that, because this is going to be super simple, right? Like I'm not trying to do like a full out, like production ready server for this. I don't really think I need to do that. So I want something simpler than using a full, like something that's going to work for all the challenge parts of these, if that makes sense. So what can I do without a macro? And without a third-party library, if possible. The UMatch part is what you're watching. Well, right, yeah, and that's what we're trying to figure out, is the UMatch part. So we could move this out of the router and into the request and put something in there where it's like, okay, we get these segments. It kind of makes sense maybe like to throw the segments into there and get that off of the request. And then we can get the first segment and then build it off of here. You need a list of your paths before you match. So, I mean, the two paths that I have right now would be slash and slash echo. And then we have an unknown number of future ones coming in too that we're going to be adding in as part of the challenge. So I guess you're trying to make a separate router library versus application code. Yeah, and I'm not trying to create a separate one for this project. It's basic, simple, like, let's see, we're going to read header, concurrent connections, return a file, read a request body. I don't think it's going to be that much of everything else. So I think we should be fine. Am I trying to build a general web server? No, absolutely not. This is a web server that's going to pass this challenge. So yeah, we're just building something that can pass the challenge, and that's fine. And Asitsu, you had something. It's a dangerous site. Wait, what's dangerous about it? Well, okay. What are you yelling at me about? When I said, like, show me the details, it didn't say me what it was. Huh, interesting. Yeah, okay. So just match my paths. Don't worry about query params right now. All right. Yeah, essentially, I don't know what's going on with that. My ARC said that that's a dangerous site and it doesn't tell me why. Which is strange. Okay, so let's. I think I do like the request, the paths. Try another browser, sure. If I copy you, let's try Firefox. Yeah, same on Firefox. That is a good warning to freak people out. That is a well-designed warning. See details? see, what are they going to put in the details? Interesting. Okay, so this has a little bit better information. Pasted.rs has been reported as containing harmful software. So I haven't. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. They got blacklisted. Wasn't there another paste that wasn't RS? And the site could be compromised too. That's like it's like one of different several things that could be happening with it, right? I don't have any sort of like isolated systems right now that I can test that on. Oh yeah, with like those, yeah, there has been quite a few. What was it? There was it PHP or Python had like a big sort of like man in the middle attacks with their, not man in the middle. It was a lot of libraries that were being used were compromised. I don't remember what it was though. It might have just been Python, but like Python is used everywhere. So that kind of sucks. Okay, so anyways, if I do segments like this, so that's I'll refactor this later. So if we do echo echo, and then I want the next one, right? Well, the next one we know is going to be the segments next to pass that in. And then you're done with that. And then I want you to be anything else, which would be some anything, is going to be this response. Like you. Okay, so if I do that, what are you upset about? Expected 0 arguments, found 1. So echo, I want the params, query param. Wait, this is not query param. This is a path param. So the path param, which is, I think this was a stir like that. And I will respond with a, let's just do a result. And a response. Now in this case, what I expect to send back is our code is going to be a 200 okay. It should be code. And then our body is going to be the path param. Let's just to owned that. And then we'll do an okay response. Okay, so we do that. We'll context you and just say echo, let's see, processing echo handler. That's okay. Segments. Okay, so expected a reference. Oh, it's an option. I forgot that. Okay, so we do have an option like that, which means we want a let some Body. It's not really body. This is going to be some param equals the path param. Yeah, path param. Like that. Wait, no, else. If it's else, our response is going to be slightly different. I want to do an early, oh, you know what we can do? We just do an early return. So we can just do bail and just say missing path param. We did that, then we get a response from this. So instead of path param, this is now a param. Okay. To owned you, and then back. You need to be mutable. Okay, so some response. Why am I forgetting that fat arrow? It's weird. Next, non-exhaustive patterns, none not covered. Right. Okay, so then if you're in none, so if you're none, we should just crash. So if you're a none, let's just panic. And then should we panic? We should bail. Should bail and say, let's see, did not get any segments. Okay. So you're happy. Need a semicolon there. Okay, then just warnings. Okay, so now we can take you out. Then we have a response. Okay, and then everything is happy. Yeah, then we're just not caring about this method yet, but let's test this again. So you're running. If we hit you, that hits with a 200 okay. Okay. We got a 200 okay. And if I go to anything else, we got a 200 okay. That's not good. I missed a bunch of stuff. Hold on, what did I miss about? Oh, okay, you got to play Rust, Link. Hold on, let me take a look at that. Okay, so path. Okay, so we do a string from. So this would be our path that's incoming. Segments. Okay, so path trim matches slash split it slash. Oh, so it's only this one. Collect into a vector. Match on the segments. So if it's that, there's no path. Basically, that's just slash nothing. Otherwise, oh, it's echo and param. Oh, I like this a lot more. This is so much better. I like it. Certainly not the most efficient solution, but we don't need it to be efficient now. I like that. Yes, but the extra symbols make you look like a real programmer. As you would have done as slice. I guess that could work too. Okay, let's try implementing this. I like that. And it might make it easier for me to have my thing actually work the way we want it to. So you can also use comma dot dot to ignore other segments. Oh, I'm on a good approach as well. This solution will get complicated for query params. Oh, you're right. That will get complicated for query params. And then for my, oh yeah. So that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know which way to go with it. I don't even know if we're gonna do query params. I would assume that we're gonna do query params. It doesn't say that query params are gonna actually be a thing. So it's hard to tell. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just get this working right now, and then we'll keep copy link address. And then I'm going to throw in here. All right, so this is router for the server. There are many ways we could handle this. Alternative suggestions. Okay, so let's do sit. Yeah, it's TSU, right? Asitsu, yeah. Asitsu has this one. Just realized the chat window in a stream is the opposite direction of the chat in Twitch. Wait, really? Oh, that's weird. Codeban, hello. How are you doing today? Oh, you start up the HTTP series from tomorrow. Nice. Well, obviously, I won't be active on it at that time, but if you have any questions, just leave them in comments, and we'll, I'll do my best to respond. Okay, so I'm gonna keep yours in there. It's to if we ever want to go back into it, we can now go grab that in the future. Okay, so in this case, if I get now, I was trying to say like, hey, if you're not found, because the first segment was nothing, I wanted this not found, right? But what's happening is I'm getting a 200 okay. Which should not be a bail. I don't think we got any of that, right? Looping while getting chunks. Method get path. Yeah, I don't think we get any of these. Here, I guess like I could always let's just do an ePrint line and just say do not get any segments. Nope, that's just weird. Unhappy face. Why is that upset at me. Oh, semicolon. That's why. Okay, so no unhappy face. So it's not reading that. I'm trying to do HTTP code not found. I'm trying to do an empty body. Not found is a 404. That's implementing display. We have a response that builds off of here. Yeah, okay, so build creates this with the code, so that should be a 404 when it hits here. I take the response that we've got, we build it, and we write that out. You like this approach? You're straight up writing strings to stream? Yeah. Yeah, that's like, I mean, I'm kind of just writing strings to stream. I'm just sort of building it out, sort of like together. But debugging why I'm getting a 200 okay, I need a trace. That's pretty much what I need. I need to like be able to trace a specific thing that's going on and figure out like, why am I getting a 200 okay? Because that's what I'm getting back out of here, right? We're just getting a 200 okay. And if I remove you, 200 okay, 200 okay. Yeah, this is all 200 okay. And that doesn't, nobody returned for response. Okay. I'm matching. Okay, you predicted this. I must have missed that. Sorry about that. You're predicting, you're matching the quotes before the first slash. Oh, it's before the first slash. It's before this first slash? Why are you, no, stop. So when I do next, okay, so is this the reason, hence your trim that matches? Okay, so let's implement your trim. So you do trim matches. So path, before we split, I'm gonna do returns a string slice with all the prefixes and suffixes that match. Okay, so do that. And then there, okay. And then we split on you. Then I get the first one. But what do we have? It's probably going to be nothing at all. So if we just do this, hey, we got that ABC back. Okay, that works. That's good. And if I go to nothing at all like you, that's 200 okay. 200 okay. Go to something random, 404 not found. That's what it was. The trim matches was exactly the problem. You could have also used skip one, but I don't trust that. It always starts with a slash. Yeah, that's true. I think that this is a much better solution. So thank you for that, Asitsu, and also thank you for that, Supercuber. You would have used something like strip prefix. Oh, strip prefix could work too. But I could also see that if you add in a slash on the end too, that could like cause weird problems. So this gets rid of that as well. like everything is always consistent. So I don't know. I think I like this one. So there we go. So if we're in nothing, do the home request. If we're on echo, process the echo handler. If we get this, we do not found, and otherwise we bail and get no segments. Excellent. Okay. Now, we are missing some response type. So we need headers now. So we need to say like what type of content this is. So text plain, and then we need to figure out what the content length is, which is going to be pretty simple because, well, it's just the body type, right? Which is ABC. And it's just the size of the response body in bytes. Okay. And isn't it? Yeah, okay, that's why it's double, because it's CRLF and then another CRLF to mark the end of the headers. Now, I think what we should do is for our response is create a builder for the response here. Because we have code, we have body. This is just a string. I could implement a type on this. I feel like maybe we should do a type on this too. And then that, should I do that? Maybe. We could also do another function for grab the headers. Maybe we should do that. So this would be like a private function. So we need a content type. So the content type header this is going to have to be probably a full string. I mean, it could be a static string, and that could work too. Yeah, I could argue that /echo/abc/ shouldn't match that route, but it doesn't matter for this project. Yeah, it does. That's very right. And so that's one of those things where, like, if we're trying to do this for like a real thing that you were trying to sell or have like actual customers for, there's a lot more considerations for the path handling. About the lifetimes, maybe you can get a simple example in the Rust playground. You can take a look at it. Oh, that Limanox was talking about. Okay. All right, so content type. So right now we have text plain if there's a body. And so I kind of think that I want to now set this to be an option with a string inside. Because if we do that, then I want this body is going to be either nothing at all. So what if I do something like this? Body unwrap or default, which should be an empty string. Can I do an asref? Oh, because there's no default. I mean, I could clone it, but I don't want to take a... Wait, isn't there like a cloned? Or that was something else that it cloned. I don't want to clone the option. I thought there was like a cloned one. Why even have the build maybe do all the work in a respond function? I mostly had the build because I know that there's like some more things with headers I wanted to do, and I don't want this already. Let's see. This already has some other stuff in here, so I don't want to sort of like combine those two together. It feels to me easier with separate rights. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. It's like basically stream right, stream right, stream right, stream right, and then we flush it. I hadn't thought about that at all. We could do that. So instead of stream right all, we just stream right. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on that. Because like this one is gonna not make it that hard either. Because once I just have these in, then I'm just throwing these into a format. I don't know, I can see both. I can see both ideas. So if I clone, that clones the option itself, which is not what I want, but it'll work. If let some body right stream body, yeah, that's true too. Otherwise, it's just sort of an empty string, which is fine. Although in this case, I need to add in the headers. Oh, okay. So then I would just get a vector of headers based upon whether or not I need them. So like instead of content type header, I would be doing something like, give me headers in here. I store them inside. And then I can loop through those and then write out all of the headers. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I could also see the response becoming, instead of a format like this, becoming a vector of just sort of things and then joining on nothing. And then writing that out all at once. Yeah, there's definitely multiple ways for us to deal with this. I do not mind the idea of multiple functions for each of these, though. Mostly because we can just sort of, well, deal with it. So in this case, this is a string content type. Now, yeah, okay, so headers, content type. Aren't these supposed to be all lowercase? Isn't like an HTTP, like these have to be lowercase? Text, plain. Oh no, Sitsu, you're still, okay, you're still going into that. Oh, it's case insensitive, so it doesn't actually matter. That works. Okay, so if I do this, we too owned you. That gives us a content type header. And then we have a function content length header. So in this case, you're going to have to be an option. And then you'll be a string. So we'll do let some. I need to copy the body. So self.body. And then you can be really an asref. Otherwise, we're going to have to do an early return of a none. Once we have this, I want to get the length of view as bytes, right? So can I get the length of view as bytes? So like let our length equals body as bytes length. And then we're going to return a sum format. And then this is going to be content length, CRLF, like that. So then that gives us those two headers. So then headers go right in here. So theoretically, yes, this is where the response of the string comes. It gets easier to do the writes independently anymore instead of the build. Which so I can now see your argument for that, Superkeeper. That makes a lot more sense. Drink Stew, hello. How are you doing today? If I wanted this to be an evil server, I could, because it's case insensitive, we could just have it be a random case every single time. And then it's just like, hey, it's a case insensitive. We don't care. We're following the spec. Yeah, so if I do, okay, so what it gets sent out first? It's first this HTTP 1.1, right? So we do that plus the code. So if I grab you, so if I were to do something like stream just a single write, wrong. Okay, I want write, buffer that as bytes, context. So this is writing, this is not the header, this is the protocol. So writing protocol, we do that. What do you return? Do you return anything at all? A U size of how many bytes were written, which I don't think I care about. Thanks for the stream. You're enjoying learning Rust through watching while coding C#. Hopefully it's not too confusing, like with the multiple like watching one language while coding another. But I've done that myself, so I guess actually it's probably not that hard. But anyways, thanks. I'm hopefully it's helpful. Okay, so if I do that, now next one was the code, right? And we always have a code. So we do stream write just the code. How did I get that in build? Right, because it implements display. Will that just work here? Can I do response code? And then I need I need the CRLF here, don't I? Yeah, I need CRLF right here after the code. So that means format probably. We are accepting that we are not what I wanted. That we are not super efficient, and that's okay. So we do that. Response.code. So then we're going to have that. So it gives us the code. And then, why did I put, okay, comma there. And then RN. Okay. So then, if the body, so then we just say, okay, if response.body, actually we could just do an if let sum. So if let sum, this gives us the body equals, I don't want to take ownership of this, so we'll just do a reference to response.body. Okay, so if let sum, we now have the body. If we have the body, that also means we have to have the headers. So we're going to do a stream write, and then the first header is the content type. So that's a string, right? So we just do a content response content type header as bytes, like that. Okay. Oh, and these need to be context too, don't I? Context. This is writing HCP code, writing content type header. Okay, response content length header. Oh, because you gave me an option string. This is safe. Okay, so this should be safe to unwrap. So missing I mean, this is missing body, so I'm just gonna unwrap you. Should be safe. As bytes, context is gonna be writing content length header. Okay, so we get all those, and then I want to stream write all the, okay, so then another RN. this actually should come out after the body, right? So like if we really think about this, this is we start with write protocol, write code, write headers. We only have headers for the body. That comes out here now. You need to be as bytes. Okay. Then once we have that, then it's the body. So because of this, this is not going to be an if left sum. This is really just going to be if response.body is sum. That's all we really care about. If you are sum, then we add these headers in, then we add in this new line, and then we can do an if let sum body. Response.body. Then we're going to write the body as bytes. Why won't you let me do context? What's wrong? Oh, because it's stream dot, right? Context. This is writing body. Do that. Okay, you're happy. And then that means all of you are done. We don't need any more. And then we flush. Okay. Tons of errors. Because in its body, this is now a default. So this is a sum. String new, because this can be a none. Still not doing anything with methods. That's fine. Result that must be used. Yes, I forgot the question mark. Build is never used, so we can get rid of you now. And unused import. Okay. Content length isn't required. Stream termination can be used instead, but I don't know if that works for HTTP 2. Yeah, this is HTTP 1.1, so it probably isn't required directly, but I believe that it's required for this challenge because they specifically said they're going to look for it. Or at least I think they said they're going to look for it. That kind of makes sense. But let's see if this works. So we have you running here. Let's go through our tests. So if we go to here, we get 200 okay. Either we have no headers coming in. Okay, that makes sense. If we go to just something random, we get a 404 not found. If we go to echo ABC, content type text plain, content length 3, and our preview is ABC. And if we do a bunch more, our content length is much higher. So I think that works. So if we let's see what we got here. So we are responding with a body. Let's see if this works. Oh, the right method for comparison after I'm done. Okay. Ooh, and I test the past. Okay. And let's see what they were looking for. It's hard to tell what they were looking for. But apparently that was it. Yeah. Test passed for respond with body. Excellent. Let's take a look at what you had. Nope, that was a Sitsu's. Okay, so this is U-centered right. Response code, U32. Okay, so we do that. Oh, so you write to stream. HP 101, so you do all that stuff. And then you pass in a response code, okay. If let some body, you write to stream, content type, text plain. Okay, you do all that stuff. Oh, okay, I see what you're doing. And then stream flash. Yeah, so instead of, okay, I like that. I like that macro a little bit more. So in our response is where we spent most of this time here. Now, I do like, let's see, so this would be in, we just do the right macro like that. We pass it the stream. And then this would just be, wait, are you saying we don't need to do the bytes? Oh, that's cool. So, and then we do our context. Like this. Okay, so that makes sense. I like that. So if I were to change this, this becomes right like that. Stream, I don't need the format at all anymore. We just have the response code, new line. We do that. Okay, so that's our code. And then we have our headers. So in this case, it becomes, whoa, what did I do? Right. Type header as bytes. Okay, so we just do that. Oh, it already has those in there. So we just do like that, this. So writing headers. And then I want another one like you. Okay, so then that becomes, if we have the body, we write the headers in. And then we add in the body. Oh, this ends the headers. So right, we have that. Oh, to add the stream. Okay. And then if we have the body, then we do another write. Stream body. Okay, we just throw the body in like that, and then context writing body. Okay. It's yeah, it is much nicer. I like it. I like it a lot. And then we flash and context. So that should be fine. And let's go ahead and double check that this still works. Switched to write macro. Thanks. Okay, putting that up. Oh, it's the bang. Every time I keep on forgetting that I can't do bang like that. At least if I'm using double quotes. I think I could do that if I use single quotes. All right, so let's go ahead and push this up, and hopefully everything should still work. Another advantage is that this approach avoids almost all allocations, which is nice, yes. Okay, still passing. Excellent. We'll mark that stage as complete. Read header. So in this stage, you'll implement the user agent endpoint, which reads the user agent request header and returns it in the response body. Okay, the user agent header. So user agent header describes the client's user agent. Your user agent endpoint must read the user agent header and return it in your response body. Here's an example of a user agent request. Okay, so we're going to / user agent. So this is where hopefully we start to get to see benefits from us doing all of our sort of like setup like this, right? So if I think I just need to touch source. Let's actually do this on the left. So on a touch source. Oh, I'm already in source. Touch routes user agent.rs. We'll do that again. There. You're still listening over there. Excellent. So let's head over to user agent and let's see if everything just sort of works the way we expect it to, which will be really nice. So we have a pub function user agent. Now, what do we need to come in here? We need the headers. We need the headers. So let's do a result. This is going to be a response. I'm going to throw in a to-do. In U. So we know we're going to have a sum. Where are you going to send this to? User-agent. So user. So we've got that. We want to go to user agent. That's going to be fine. Context. This is running user agent handler. Okay. All of that is fine and great now, but I need to get the headers as part of the response, which is fine. Now can I can't, so I have ownership of the response here. Sorry. That's the response. I have ownership of the request. I can pass in a reference to the request, and that should be fine. So if we take in the request here, you're going to be happy there, but that means that in the request, so in process request, request equals parse raw request, we need to grab the headers out of here and then stuff them into here. Now, what did I do? Parse method from request. So we have in the raw request, I get the reader. Right, so I create a reader off of the requested bytes. Okay, parse method from request. We get our, okay, right. So we have method, we have path. Oh, you know what? We can probably just see when I send the request, can I see exactly what I'm sending? This won't show me, will it? This only just shows me what I get back. Okay. So if I want to see exactly what we have, oh, and actually here they have that. Here's an example of the user agent. So we have the method, the path, the protocol. And so we have method, path. I'm ignoring the protocol because we all know that's always HP 101, but then headers comes after that. So I need, so it probably would be good for me to have a protocol. That could be a string. And then headers probably should be a vector of this. That's my guess. And then I can deal with that separately. Now, should that actually be the case? Because I could also make this a... Okay, well, let's do one thing at a time here. Protocol. So I want to grab U. So HTTP 1.1. So that's going to be... We know how long that is too, don't we? So parse path from request. Let's do another one here. Function parse protocol. So we have a request. That's our reader. I want you to be a string. Okay, so you have our path bytes. So I want this to be let mute protocol bytes. So we're going to take our request. We're going to read until So read until, now in that case I did a space. I want to read until a new line. So this isn't a CRLF after each one of these too, I think. So we have 2 CRLFs here. Should I look for both of these? I mean, maybe. Because the request body comes after this. Should I just get this one? Okay, so read until RN has bytes. And then we have our buffer that we're reading into, which is mute protocol bytes. So we are reading protocol bytes. Okay. So it gives us U. What are you upset about? Mismatch types, expected U8 found a reference. Oh, wait, wasn't there a better way? It was read into, oh, it's just like a single byte, isn't it? Because that's one, that's not, those are 2 characters, aren't they? So I probably want to read until like that. Oh, and then turn this into bytes like that. So read until the new line like this. And then I want to move forward one more, which is the N. So if I could do request is there something that just lets me? Oh, read all bytes until a new line. Read line might be good. Oh, I like this a lot more. Read all bytes until a new line is reached and append. Okay. What does append them to the provided string buffer? Previous content of the buffer will be preserved. To avoid appending to the buffer, you clear up first. Up to and including the delimiter found will be appended to buffer. Okay, then I can trim it. Okay, I like that a lot more. So let's do, instead of read until, we'll do read line. Buffer like that, context. You need to be a string. Okay. And then we're going to return an okay. So this is the protocol. So protocol, and let's trim you. Expected string. Oh, trim. Two on. Okay. Read line only checks. Oh, for new line. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, okay, that's. Okay. I was hoping that it would check everything. That it would like do the CRLF. I will get both, but will trim do the R properly? I don't know. We'll find out, right? Okay, so I mean, let's try this. The concern is that it might get a little bit weird with the CRLF, the full CRLF. Okay, so if I parse protocol from the request, so then because it's that, then let's do let protocol equals parse protocol from the request. You give it the reader context, parsing protocol from request. Okay, and then we have the protocol field. It's happy in there. Let's then print line protocols protocol. Okay, so we should now see the protocol thrown into here. So let's say I do this again. Protocol HTTP 1.1, and so far everything else looks appropriate. So I think, well, the real one is going to be the next one, right? Because if we did this correct, we're fine. It is R C R. It's RN, but it's 2 bytes. So we just want to skip 2 bytes now. So if I want to skip 2 bytes, I want to do. Is there like a skip? There is no skip, is there? I mean, it might be fine here because they're probably not deliberately crafting inputs that have slash n somewhere in the middle or protocol line, but an actual HTTP server wouldn't want to use readline. Oh. Oh, if it implements seek. Okay. Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, like there's a lot in this server that are not like great for like a real life use case server. And I think that's perfectly fine because that's a completely different challenge altogether that we're not really getting into. Okay, so this, I do a request reader here. Which doesn't give me seek abilities, I don't think. So I kind of want to just skip the new line, right? So what if I just have another function skip CRLF? I mean, I could do a result, but I don't actually know if I need to do results at all. I think that'll just be fine. Can I do read exact too? Let's find out. Ooh, yes, there it is. Read exact. Read the exact number of bytes required to fill the buffer. Okay, so it still needs to fill the buffer. I was hoping to like not have a buffer to fill. Because I don't care about like, I don't also think I can do something like this. Because this would, it's gonna yell at me saying like, hey, why are you doing this? Yeah, okay, so let's do R2. So like function skip CRLF. So we have a request. I want to create our buffer, which is going to be a these are chars. So can I just say char 2? Oh, and there's read byte that I can call twice too. That can work. Can I do read exact too? No, because it reads exact into a buffer. So here, we could do request. So read exact, as we can see here, reads into a buffer. And so I would do this buffer is size 2. And so it read exacts into the buffer like that. So context, reading, reading to reading buffer length bytes. Something like that. And it doesn't like this. Expected built-in value. Expected value, right. So, I mean, if I do zeros, I guess that's fine. But as Supercuber also mentions, the other thing that we can do, oh, just pass mute 02? Oh, could I do that? Could I say, oh yeah, that works. I was expecting the borrow checker to yell at me for that one. So this works. And then the other one is that I could read a byte twice. But this one lets me do it all in one line instead of 2 lines. So I like this more just because of that. Okay, so skip CRLF. Now we can do this right here. Skip CRLF. Let's do the mute reader here. So it's new line like that. Okay. So now that has skipped you. Sorry. That has skipped you now. So now it's headers time. So let's parse headers from request. We'll get our request. Result. And then we need some kind of headers. Technically, that function is just skip 2 bytes. There's no check about it being a CRLF. Yeah, true. I probably want headers to be a hash map. But can I do something like this? Pub type headers is going to be a hash map of, my guess is string. That's my guess. We're going to find out if we're correct or not. So headers like you. So then we'll start with a let mute headers equals a hash map new. And then we're going to return an OK headers. So that's going to make you OK to begin with. And that's going to be fine. So the first thing we want to do is want to read until we hit the new line. So probably do another read line. Do something like that. So, and then we want to do this until we reach this. Because each one ends with a new line. So I want to read line. So we probably want to do a loop. So we'll do a loop here. We'll get a raw header. Read the line into a buffer. So that means let mute header bytes. Okay, so that gives us you. What are you upset about? Right, I keep on forgetting this is a string. Okay, so we have our header. We'll just call this header buffer. That'll work. Okay, so we have our header buffer. We get, I actually don't care about this raw header like that. In fact, we can even call this I did that wrong. So where we have buffer, we just call this the raw header. Okay, so now that we have the raw header, I want to, so that's going to be this right here. I kind of want to split on the first colon because we can have multiple colons in here, that's fun. Or technically we can have spaces anywhere else too. I could split on colon space and just hope that that's not a thing that happens elsewhere in the header, which again, I might be able to get away with it in this specific challenge, but this is not something you'd ever want to do in a real life. Fennell, hello. How are you doing today? Will it help in your resume? It could help in your resume. So if you were able ever to do some like project like this, I would also recommend adding some like flair for yourself, and probably want to be able to like explain everything inside of the code and like what it's doing and why it's doing in order to like really add it to your resume. Otherwise, people might think that you just sort of followed a tutorial and just sort of went from that. So something to keep in mind. So like, yeah, the answer is maybe. I think some of the other projects would be better resume fodder though, because like build your own HTTP server, there are plenty of people who have done something like that before. That being said, there are like build your own Git, build your own Redis. Those ones might be better for resumes. And build your own interpreter is free right now during beta, but I think they have a decent number of languages. Go, Python, Rust, Kotlin, Gleam, OCaml, and Zig. So those might be good ones to do right now because it's free. Can I see in here what the request is going to look like? Because I can see the headers. But I don't see... Yeah, this is the response of what I get back. I don't see the raw one here. Now, that being said, Rapid API does give me that. So if I were, what's our... Let's do a new request. So get to you. And so user agent, in this case, it's, Rapid API isn't going to set up. But yeah, in this case, it is going to send a colon in here. But of course, I could, if I were to do this with curl, I would potentially malform that and can send it without. I actually have no idea. If I sent this without in curl, would that, we should test it. We should test that. Let's try it out. What's the worst that could happen here? So I get this raw header string, and I want to, okay, if the raw header string is empty because there's nothing in here, then, okay, so then that's our break time. So if raw header is empty, we are breaking. Otherwise, we are, what are we going to do? I want to probably just print these out. Let's print line the raw header. And then we're returning nothing right now, but that's perfectly fine. Okay, so then in we skip the CRF, and then we're going to do let headers parse headers mute reader. Okay, so we're not going to do anything with this, and that's going to be fine. And so we should see, we'll start with Insomnia. Kind of behind you. That's not great. Here, perfect. Okay, so if I come back to here, we see raw header, HO. I'm missing HO. Is that because I don't need this skip CRLF? Yeah, I didn't need that skip CRLF. Okay, so raw header is host. And then also just to make sure that we really are seeing what we expect to see. When I print line, I want to put quotes around the raw header so we can make sure there's no weird spaces or anything else like that. Okay, so host. We have the new line at the end here, but we can trim that, and that'll be fine. We can trim that. So trim new, we do that. If it's empty, break. And we are actually breaking here, right? Maybe. Can I do this twice? I can. Okay. So it didn't just sit there in an infinite loop forever, which is great. So that worked out. I want to trim you after we get this in. So request that. Let's see. Dimsalope, hello. How are you doing today? Does anybody by any chance know any IEC 6 wonderful client library for Node.js? I don't know that. I'm sorry. And we're doing a lot of Rust in here right now, so I don't know if anybody in chat knows that either. So sorry about that. I'm sort of like out of practice for a lot of Node.js libraries. It's been too long since I was like programming every day in Node.js. Like if you had caught me years ago, I probably would have. I ask you to check my comment under your latest video. I'm having a lot of trouble with testing in Rust after the live. Totally, yeah, absolutely. I usually get a notification, but I've noticed something. Every once in a while, I don't get notifications for comments on videos, and I don't know why. So let me just double check really quickly that I got it, and I can see it in the studio. The latest comment that I see is on the DigitalOcean one. And that was 3 days ago. So is it being held? Which video was it? Yeah, let me know what video, which video it was, and then the other one is Toto. It might also be a good idea to join the Discord. Let me put a link to that here. Wrong keyboard. if you join the Discord, that's usually easier to get a hold of me than just videos like that. Okay, let me take a look at that. Okay, is learning a code still worth it? One. Huh, yeah, I haven't seen anything. The most recent comment that I see is 3 days ago. But it's also weird because I see a 4 comments total and only 3 comments on it. Weird. It's not held for review by YouTube. So this is something that happens all the time by YouTube, and I have no idea what it is. I've heard some other content creators complaining about it too. YouTube just sometimes drops comments. Like, especially if you put like anything that YouTube thinks is bad or a link in there, it might just shadow delete the comment. And it shows that the comment was there, but I can't see it at all, which sucks. Like sometimes I'll get a notification. Excuse me, a notification about it, but I won't actually be able to see it. So yeah, I don't know. Discord is probably the best place to put that in because Discord doesn't shadow delete all the stuff. Okay, and then the other thing was, oh yeah, Dim. Sorry for the random question you did ask, because most of the implementations are already in C++. Yeah, and that's the thing is like, I don't know of, like, you're right. Most of them are implemented in other libraries or other languages already, but I don't know that specific one. So sorry about that. But always okay to ask. Okay. So, reading the bytes, everything is good like this. Okay, so, oh, I wanted to trim it. I wanted to trim this. So if the header is empty like that, let's also, I'm just going to shadow the raw header and trim it. So we're going to say that a raw header oh, but that gives me a stir like that. That's not, okay, fine. I'll just trim like this. Okay, so back to you. If we hit ascend, we now see, okay, everything is on one line. We see the quotes around the things. That's great. We do have one raw header. Oh, that's an empty string here. I thought break immediately removed us. Oh, wait, I'd probably want to, because it's not empty. It has one character in it, which is the new line, isn't it? Or like the R. It's the R. So I probably do want to do something like let raw header. Let's just call this header, right? So header equals the raw header trim like that. And then if header is empty, we'll do that. Let's go back to you. Much better. Okay, now we don't have that empty one showing up. That's good. Trim that string. Yeah, exactly. And toggle bit. Hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so I want to, how do I want to do this to break these up into their own things? You're doing well. Excellent. That's good to hear. Hopefully, Anathema hasn't been driving you too crazy recently. I'm doing pretty good. We're making decent progress on the HTTP server, which is always nice. Now, if I wanted to break this up into left of the colon and right of the colon, that's the next thing. You were a loon before you started, so basically it didn't hurt you any more than you were already hurt, right? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that correct? Okay, so how silly would this be for me to just do colon space to split on? That feel, oh, you know what? We want to do one more test. Let's do this as a test. I want to curl to, let's see, it's dash H. Is it capital H for header? And we'll do just something like, actually, does it add a headers in it already? Let's try this. Okay, so it adds those headers in automatically. And if I do a curl, I think I can just do lowercase, right? So I can say something like blah, blah. Nope, that wasn't it. Capital H. That's what it is. Okay, and then if I wanted to remove this space in here, yeah, okay, so I could be like that won't work. The problem is this colon right here is kind of stupid and horrible. So if I split on that, that means everything is no longer on the right thing. Embrace the madness. That sounds appropriate for us. So we have a choice here. I can continue with the entire assumption that this is not a production ready HTTP server, which kind of what we've been doing the entire time, and say, you know what? That's not valid. Never, you're not allowed to do a space. You're not allowed to remove the space. It has to have the space here. Otherwise, everything breaks. Otherwise, I would need to look for the first space. Is there a split? Can I split after the first instance of something? Is that a thing? So like we have our header here, but can I do for header, I guess like for header part? For header part and raw header, so split off is at an index. Restricted to returning at most n items. So separated by the pattern, restricted to returning. So I want 2 items, and pattern would be colon. Like that. Yeah, so split n. Okay, so then I don't actually want a for loop for this. I want let header parts. So I want something like that. That now I can do next and next on the 2 of them and get what I expect to get out of it, right? So I could then do headers, insert. The key is let's do header name. Header name is going to be header parts next. It's an option. Let's map the option. And I want to trim and to own this. So I want wait, that's not how it works. Header, I'm gonna trim to own that. That gives me a string. You're still unknown? Okay, now you're a string. Then I can do let header value. Header parts. Next. I'm gonna map. Header trim to owned. Okay, so we have two option strings. I don't want to store this with option strings, so I need to continue if either of these are options. So if header name or header value so is none. No, not that. Is none. Do what I mean, not what I type. Okay, so if header name is none or header value is none, then I want to continue. And that's it. Okay. So at this point here, we can now insert an unwrapped header name and a header value. You need to be mutable. Okay. So then we have the raw header printed out. So now I can do headers. And actually, I don't need to do that at all. We have headers, insert, we break out of view. I want to now just print out headers, you need to be debug, and then that's going to be fine. Okay, let's see if this works. So if I send you headers, we have accept, **, user agent, insomnia, host, localhost. Perfect. And if I were to do this thing again, user agent, curl, blah, blah. Okay, so everything works the way we expect it to, and we're doing it at least like slightly better than we were before. So happy with that. We need to go to request and say pub headers is headers. So parse raw request. Handed all these headers. So now we have the headers. Perfect. Which means we can go back to the user agent. We have the headers inside of here now. What are we supposed to do with them? We're supposed to put the user agent, return it in your response body. And that should just be whatever they put in here. Okay? Which is just text in plain. Easy. Okay, so we need let the user agent is going to be, it's going to be a sum, isn't it? I mean, it should always be here. And we can just throw an error because, you know, why not? But okay, so user agent equals, let's do request, headers, let's get, it's going to be a user agent. I could also throw this, you know what, we should do this because like we're not supposed to care about capitalizations, but we totally are right now. And I can easily fix this, right? Because we can say for this header, I am getting, so I'm trimming to owned, and I can just say for the name to lowercase here. And that's going to be fine. So here, instead of user agent like that, that becomes user agent, user agent. That gets us an option like that. So this gives me the value. This just gets the value, right? Returns a reference to the value corresponding to the key. Perfect. So then if some let some user agent equals that, and I can even get rid of this let some. So this becomes an else here. Okay, so if we don't have this, what do I want to do? I probably want to just return a response. Let's just bail, because why not? Bail missing user agent header. So then at this point, we can now build a response. So code is going to be an HTTP code OK. And for the body, we're going to do a sum user agent. I mean, considering that this already is a string, oh, this is going to be so much easier. Okay, hold on. Let's just grab the user agent out. Don't need this else. We're now going to have a OK response. Code is OK. And the body is just going to be, I do need to map you to owned. That gives me a string. And then body becomes user agent, like that. What are you upset about? You're upset of the fact that I didn't. Oh, weird. Okay, so you're happy here. No errors. So we need routes mod. And okay, so we have user agent like that. Actually, is this just going to work? Let's find out. So if we now go to user agent insomnia. Okay, I think this is just going to work as we needed. So let's go ahead and take care of some of these. We aren't using a skip CRLF, so I'm just going to remove it. Okay, method and protocol are never read from here. Those are fine. Don't worry. Oh, but you know what? In the response, instead of this, I can just grab this off of response. Oh, wait, do I not have the... Oh, I need the request in here. In send response, we would need the request in order for me to get this. Okay, so never mind. Unused bail, that's fine. Yeah, those other two things. Oh, wait, for this request, can't I just say right here, allow unused? What is this, unused? Oh, dead code. Okay, protocol. I mean, I actually don't know if we're ever going to use protocol. But okay, we have one warning, and that's fine. Okay, so this is, we added user agent mirror route. And let's see if this works. And it did, and I don't think we need to clean up anything either. So that's perfect. So read header is done. And then we start working on concurrent connections. But it's after 1 o'clock. I am getting pretty hungry. I ate some breakfast before we started streaming, but that was a while ago. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it here, and then we'll move on to concurrent connections, returning a file next time. And then there's some extras. So these are extensions that were created after part of the main one. We'll take a look at them and see if we want to implement them or not when we get to them. So with that, thank you everybody for hanging out today. I should be back next week on Monday to continue working on this project. So with that, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.